Hi there, this is Aaron. Today is Sunday the 19th of April and it's day 9 on the allotment. Well, as you can see, I've kind of joined the brigade of people that are trying to improve sound quality. I'm trying out this microphone. Today is actually quite windy conditions and ordinarily it would be not terribly pleasant. So what I'm hoping today is to manage to achieve sound quality that is passable. Whether this is the mic that I stick with, I don't know. I'm trying it out now. You can probably see I'm still getting used to it. So my apologies, but we'll try and get there. Well, April is definitely upon us now, and of course April is when we've got to get lots of seeds planted. A lot of things got to happen really quickly, so I've been busy at home and I've got a few things I can show you. We're going to do some potting, some planting of seeds. Now, I've been a bit sort of not happy with the seed compost, so what we're doing is we're going to use some coir. The coir actually worked quite well last year, and I couldn't understand why coir would work well with seeds and not with sort of more mature plants. And the reason is that seeds need very, very little in the way of nutrients, and coir has virtually nothing. So for a seed, it actually works quite well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these little briquettes in. I'm going to put some water on them, and they'll swell up, and then we'll put some seeds in. And this is the coir. When I've put it in, I've also added some water. Now, what happens when you add water to coir is that it swells up many times its own size. That's because it's been dried and compressed, and then when you hydrate it, it sort of takes on a nice composty consistency. Now what we're going to do is I've got some Brussels sprouts, some courgette, some cayenne bush pumpkin, some cucumber and some butternut squash. I'm also going to try and put in a few of the large pumpkin and the large marrow seeds as well. Okay, so in this first row I've got some Burpless Tasty Cucumber. In the next row that is the Defender Courgette. In the next one is the Waltham Butternut Squash. Now those seeds were actually quite a bit bigger than the others, and I'm a bit worried that they won't take, that these little pockets are not, the little pouches are not big enough. But I've put them in. I didn't want to put anything bigger in, so I haven't put any of the pumpkins or the marrows in yet, and I'm going to put those in little 3-inch pots. But what I did do was fill up the next 3 rows with Brussels sprouts, because this year I'm determined to plant Brussels sprouts out when they need to go out, so that hopefully we can get some Brussels sprouts for Christmas. So that's my next lot of seeds sown. Well, we're going to do some potting on here, and what we're going to do is put it into this little mix. So I've got the compost, which has given me trouble all year, and I've mixed it 50-50 with some coir. Now what I think and what I hope is that this is going to lighten it all up, make it much more sort of drainage, and is going to make it a much nicer medium to put plants into. So we're going to give that a go right now. Well, what I've got now is these are the marrow and large pumpkin seeds that were sent to me by Chris and Tony. So thanks for that again, fellas. What I've got is I've got 3 black pots, and in there is going to go the marrows, and I've got 3 of the little terracotta pots, and in there is going to go the pumpkins. So we're going to start them off now. We're going to keep them indoors. This is my own blend of compost, which is using 1.5 to 2 parts of ordinary compost to 1 part of coir, which I'm hoping is going to keep the soil really light, and which means that I'm going to get a germination from these. So here goes nothing. My first attempt at large pumpkins and large marrows. Now, I hope you can see this. I've put the seeds in, they're sort of about twice, 2 and a bit the size of the seed down, and then I've placed them on the edge, sort of long ways across, so that they're not facing down, they're not facing up, they are literally just sitting there with as little of the seed in contact with what will be the dampest part of the soil. So that's the recommended way to do this. So now I'm going to cover them up, give them a water, put them on the window ledge and see what happens. I'm really excited about this. This is a technique that I use with all of my potting. What I do is I've got a larger pot and I use the smaller pot as a plug into the larger pot. So what that does, I'll show you, is it gives me a perfect hole for the plant to go into, so that there's no sort of mucking around. Now I'll make sure that this is absolutely soaked so that the root ball stays together. What I'm going to do now is just add some chili fertiliser to that. Move that around in there. One out, straight in. And there is a repotted chilli. So you can see in just a few minutes you get sort of nicely potted on and gloriously unstressed chilli plants. It's a technique, I can't remember where I saw it, but it really works. With the tomato plant I'm actually doing something slightly different. I mean, I'm still using the small pot as a plug inside the larger pot, but what I'm doing is I'm putting it right at the bottom, because then when I put the plug in, then I can backfill higher up on the stem, which will mean that it will make the tomato plant more secure and roots will grow out of the stem that's then covered by soil. So that's the tomato plant backfilled now to the top. Just give it a water and it's ready to go back on the windowsill. So that's everything at home. You can see that everything's really coming along. I've also brought up some Kelsey seeds or seedlings that are ready to go in, along with my carrots, and my brassicas are getting very close to going in. There's lots to be getting on with, so I'm going to start now. Well, I'm ready to plant out the peas. So what I've done is I've dug a trench and then I've filled it with manure. So what I'm now going to do is rake the soil back over again. Then I'm going to put up the netting and then we can plant the peas. And there is my wire fencing, and as I go along we've actually got the peas planted out. So they're watered in. I don't think it's too early because they're meant to be quite hardy. So I think I've done this right this year and that we might actually have some peas. You can see for the first time these are the Stuttgarter onions that I planted out, and they've all taken. Now what I'm going to do now is I've dug this over and I'm going to do some companion planting of some onions, because I do have some Kelsey onions, and also the carrots that are ready. Now, as everybody knows, I can't grow carrots, so this is going to be a bit of an experiment. Let's see what happens. Well, what I'm doing now is I'm planting out my Kelsey onions. It was the last throw of the dice, and all other attempts had failed, so it's brilliant that these have survived. And I mean, it's almost as if they were sent to me.
He did order them.
Yeah, I know they were actually sent to me.
He ordered them from D.T. Brown.
As I say, it's as if they were sent to me, but of course I definitely grew these myself. Definitely. Or at least I will, once I plant them. What I've been doing is making a hole in the ground with this stick, giving it a good go round, and then I've been filling the hole up with coir. Coir, as you know, is a really sort of light soil-like material that roots can move really easily through, but it has no nutrients. But because it's quite a it's not a particularly wide hole, all the earth around it has. And what I think I'm doing is, as I fill the hole up with coir, what I can then do is take my carrots and the carrots have been in these root trays. Now, this is a total experiment. I read about it. I have no idea if it's going to work, and actually the balls, the root balls, are not really holding together as well as I wanted them to. So this might be a complete and utter disaster, but I'm giving it a go because, as you know, I can't grow carrots. So this is the 2015 attempt. Let's see how we get on. Well, that's the last of them in, but my hopes are not high. So now I've completed that. All of the Kelsey onion seedlings that I had, they've all now been planted out. And you can see also for the first time that my Stuttgarter giant onions are coming through. Now, this is a tip that I got from Claire. So thank you very much, Claire, which is to plant carrots and onions together. So I've interspersed all of the onions with carrots, and the idea is that the allium fly doesn't like carrots and the carrot root fly doesn't like onions, and so actually they protect each other. I'm really pleased that I've got this bed dug, because if I then also pan across to my garlic, which needs weeding, yes, I know it needs weeding, I'll do that soon. But my garlic's coming along great. That's really put and now my onions are looking really respectable. So this, as an allium bed, is really looking quite pleasing now, and I certainly am very pleased. The strawberry patch, which, as you know, I have just left to its own devices, but I can actually see that the strawberry plants are waking up. Now, I think that strawberries can outcompete most things, and so what will actually happen here is that the strawberry plants will start to crowd out the rest of the weeds. I'm still prepared to pull this out at the end of the season and start again, but I just want to see what happens here. All of the potatoes are in. This isn't tidy yet, and I'm going to add some wood chip. But one thing that I did want to show you is, if you look on that one, that's actually a potato starting to poke through. I only planted those last week, or maybe the week before, so that's very pleasing. You can just see here, this is actually where some of my ornamentals are, and these are actually lilies that are poking through. So it's entirely possible that I may have some lilies soon, and we can get some pollinators going. And, well, they'll look very pretty as well. So something to feel good about there. This is my late rhubarb. I say it's late rhubarb, but I mean, it's really looking quite ready as well, actually. So it's going to be a good year for rhubarb, I think. My comfrey is really starting to come through as well now.
And the other lovely thing about this is that there appear to be some ornamentals here as well, that I think they are marigolds coming through, which are actually doing better than my marigolds at home. But it looks as if the last person on the plot also put some ornamentals down as well, so that's great. I showed you the peas. I've put some slug pellets down for those as well now, the sort that don't kill vertebrates. But the real success is that I've got currants coming. You can see, the little blossoms, and over there, all of these. I mean, if you remember, it wasn't that many weeks ago, these were just twigs. And now, that's looking absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking forward to these. Another thing that's happening, apart from the weeds coming, is that all of the raspberries are coming back into life as well. So that's good. Now you can see Cheeky. Now Cheeky's not a particularly tall dwarf, but all the same, that is an enormous rhubarb plant. I actually took a harvest from that, and well, I'll show you. And there's my rhubarb haul for Saturday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sticks of rhubarb, and some of those are 1.5 foot long. I'm really pleased with that. So yes, rhubarb for tea, rhubarb cordial, rhubarb crumble, rhubarb cake. We're not going to run out of rhubarb this year. So there you see, we've been pretty busy on the plot today, all through the weekend, and I'm pleased because certainly the alliums are starting to look at like, a proper bed. It is a bit worrying that there isn't really room there for the leeks, so I'm going to have to dig a second allium bed for the leeks. But that's a nice problem to have, I suppose. It really is coming to the end of the day today. It's a little bit overcast. It's a little bit chilly, but not too bad. But I've got lots to feel good about. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Allotment. Goodbye.